Now before I start this video, I want to make two things clear. One is the definition of the word exposition, because if this word weren't to be defined, then it's going to be impossible for you all to understand the context of this video. And two is going to be the proof of the problem regarding Attack on Titan's finale and its poor use of exposition. And then after, I'm going to go over a show which does utilise exposition well, and explain how the methods that show used could be implemented into this show's finale. Now, exposition is defined as essentially information the writers believe it is necessary for us to know, in order for us to understand and comprehend the future events of a story. Take for example the scene in Attack on Titan where Hanji explains the Thunder Spears and how they work. Whilst it does dramatically slow down the pacing of the story, it exists so that we and the characters are able to understand what's about to take place next. Because if we weren't to be told this, then we'd have no idea as to how our characters are now somehow able to battle with the armoured Titan. Necessary information used to contextualise a future event. However, in the final episode of this show, many scenes or moments exist which are purely expositional, however don't add any context to anything that's about to or is taking place. Take for example the moment where Levi randomly reflects on his decision to choose Armin over Erwin. It's a moment of exposition which takes up nearly 2 whole minutes of the episode, however doesn't add any context to the battle that's taking place, nor add any more dimensions or depth to Levi's character, as it's information we as an audience already know, because we've been told and shown it in prior episodes, essentially raising the question, well if it doesn't contribute to or enhance the narrative in any way, why the hell does it exist? Another example of pointless exposition occurring in this episode is the moment where Peak randomly decides to tell the audience about Reiner's resolve, when making the decision not to sacrifice a mission in an attempt to save him. It's a line which we as an audience don't need to be told, as we can literally see Reiner's resolve playing out, as even at the brink of death, he still fights on. And this is a weird example of something I like to label as show and tell, which is something I've noticed Attack on Titan likes to do a lot, which is essentially showing the audience a scenario or situation playing out, while simultaneously also telling us about it, defeating the entire purpose of a tried and true visual storytelling method, in show don't tell. Now for those who don't know what that term means, it's essentially where we as an audience are shown something about a character or maybe the plot, rather than simply told something about it. Take for example the introduction to all of the main characters in the Suicide Squad. Rather than showing us who these people are, we're instead just told, which makes it a far more boring experience for us as a viewer, as one, being told information in any capacity is just boring, and two, is because showing us something that we need to know, rather than just telling us about it, is more than likely going to give us a better understanding of whatever it is. Take for example the origin of the Titans, and the relationship between King Fritz and Ymir. We're shown how much Ymir loved King Fritz, through the act where she sacrifices her life for his, serving as a far more compelling moment, rather than just being told say a line like, "Oh I would die for you." And what this does is give us a deeper understanding into her motives in the show's final episode, as we've been physically shown this love play out, rather than just been told it exists, and left to trust the words of the writer, providing necessary context, whilst also not affecting the pacing of the story. Which as you might have noticed I brought up 2 times now in this video, is what the existence of poorly used exposition often causes, is a dramatic slowdown in the pacing of the narrative, hence why the duration of Attack on Titan's finale, and often the finale of many rushed shows, are typically far longer than that of any prior episode, as they're left with the problem of having to contextualise so much, in so little time, which leads to many scenes of pure exposition, explaining information which we as an audience should have gradually learnt over the course of time, rather than just told about all at once. Take for example the scene in The Wire where Lester Freeman confronts a grand jury leak, who's been supplying Maurice Levy with all of the court's information on Marlowe Stanfield, contextualising how Levy and his clients have been able to stay ahead of the police for such a long time. However, the problem with this revelation is that because it was so rushed, and we as an audience were given every little detail on the matter all at once, there was no pleasure in the reveal, as there was no time spent uncovering it. And this is another problem which I believe Attack on Titan's final episode, regarding the discovery of the paths and how it operates, also suffers from, as we're given so much information on a piece of this world we spent so little time in, inside of a mere few minutes, completely removing any aspect of mystery and intrigue, which was once something Attack on Titan was so great at utilising. Now an anime I have watched which I believe does exposition really well and should be used as a benchmark for not only other animes, but also TV shows as a whole regarding its use of exposition, is Death Note, which utilises what Robert McKee's book on storytelling essentially describes as arousing curiosity prior to contextualising the event, essentially meaning that if a piece of exposition were to have to be explained in order for the audience to understand what's about to take place, then the writer should arouse curiosity by showing the event we know nothing about first, and then answering all of our questions after, acting as a justification for the existence of the next 2 to 3 minutes we're about to spend solely watching exposition, as we physically cannot progress with the story if we have no idea what's just gone on. Dumb down, make us want the explanation after the mysterious event takes place, rather than giving it us prior to the event taking place. Now, a specific scene in Death Note which perfectly utilises this method is a scene where Light believes he's just killed L on live television, only to soon find out that actually it wasn't L, but rather just some random inmate.
どうした?なんとか言ってみろ。信じられない。もしやと思って試してみたが、まさかこんなことが。キラ、お前が直接手を下さずに人を殺せるのか。この目で見るまではとても信じられなかった。
Now, the way this scene is structured is perfect, as we're given an uncontextualised event, which has just left us with over a dozen questions like, if not L, who did Light just kill? What trap has Light just fallen into? How the hell is L still alive? And what this is doing is arousing curiosity in the minds of the viewer, and making us want or need the explanation and contextualisation of events that have just ensued, justifying L's 3-minute info dump and holding of the viewer's hand, when he explains all that has just taken place. And the reason this is so perfect is because of 3 things. 1. Information is at no point being contextualised which we already have full awareness of. 2. Events that have taken place prior, and have led to L structuring this broadcast the way that he did, are contextualised. And 3. Is a complete subversion, and then re-subversion of expectations regarding L and his intelligence. And what I mean by this, is that in the episode prior, and also this episode, L has been made out by the entirety of the world as its greatest detective. However, once he's seemingly killed mere seconds into the investigation, we're left to wonder whether or not all we've been told is true. Until seconds later, our expectations are flipped on its head once more, and we learn that actually L has just whittled down the investigation from over 7 billion suspects to 42 million inside of a day. Now let's have a look at specific moments in the Attack on Titan finale, which could benefit from this method of storytelling and use of exposition. Well, first of all, we can start by completely removing all of the scenes or lines that deliver information we already have knowledge of, such as Levi's reflection on choosing Armin over Erwin, as if it doesn't serve a purpose, or enhance the narrative. Why the hell does it exist? Secondly, we can look at exploring the past and how it works over the course of several episodes leading up to the finale, rather than just the finale, so when the eventual reveal of how this mysterious place works comes to light, we feel that we've earned this explanation, and are rewarded once receiving it, rather than just explaining it all at once, for the sake of conveniently turning the tide to the battle. As mentioned prior, if we're given information on a topic or area we know nothing about all at once, why care, as we've spent no time uncovering it, nor we're left with any time to ponder what this place really is, completely removing any aspect of pleasure in the reveal. All in all, I believe Attack on Titan's finale, along with many Rush TV show finales, would benefit from simply more episodes. And I know me saying this is incredibly generic, and by no means some hot take, but unfortunately it's true, as for exposition to work naturally, and be considered good exposition, time needs to be spent arousing the audience's curiosity, and having us want or feel like we need to have these events contextualised, rather than just having a heap of information about a topic we have no desire to know more about, forced onto us. But also balancing this with the show's finale making sense, as a few videos I've seen on YouTube also break down the lack of contextualisation to events and character decisions to be a problem. Take for example Annie randomly making the decision to not join in with the final fight. However, once she discovers Falco's convenient ability to fly, feels like she has no choice but to offer a helping hand, as now that she and the others can simply just fly there, Surely there's no logical reason for her not to go, even though all of the other characters who went to the fight prior literally flew on a plane. Yeah, the lack of context here really doesn't do this and any of the character decisions justice. Anyway, I just want to thank you all so much for watching. Please make sure to like, subscribe and turn on post notifications, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace!